Founder and Chief Executive at Clientjoy, and today I'm going to talk about managing and editing your sales pipeline. We'll look through creating stages of your sales funnel, managing and creating your custom fields, setting up your leads view, search, sort, and filter amongst leads, import, and even integration with external tools via Zapier, Pabbly, Integromat, Integrately, and so on and so forth. But let's first try and understand why we are doing this, right? So our goal at Clientjoy is to keep the product as simple and as minimal as possible. However, if you look at the kind of features and modules that we have within the product, there are about 150 of those, and so inevitably, sometimes certain features are buried under under menus, and so that means that it does, our desire to keep it simple and minimal does impact the visibility of certain flows within the product. One of the key things that we also realized is when we look through our support tickets and support chats, we saw that a lot of our users are basically trying complicated workarounds to flows that are already possible within the product, for flows that we've already built features for. And so this live session is essentially intended to help with that. And the third key thing is that this live session will also help on sharing best practices on Clientjoy. And if you already love the product, this live sessions will actually make it even better for you, right? If you'd like to help us make the product better, before we start the live session, I have to share this with you. If you'd like to help us make the product better, do join the Clientjoy beta program on clientjoy.io/partner/beta program. And this will help us. So basically what this would mean is that whenever we build a feature and release it for a larger audience, for all of our users, just before that, like 10-15 days before that, we will give you the access to that feature. And so you can use that feature and then let us know if there are any improvements that are required, if there are any issues that we faced. And so that small amount of time that you spend on helping us improve the product will actually mean that you will save a lot of time for the larger user base, for the 4,000 agencies and 9,000 freelancers that we already serve as of now. Another key thing that I should also mention is that if you'd like to join community of agency owners and freelancers, then we run a community on Facebook of about 1,200 plus people. And so just head over to facebook.com/groups/clientjoy and join that community. You can join that community, ask questions that you have, you can answer questions that other people have as well, or just share memes, jokes, share frustration. It's essentially a safe space for agency owners and freelancers to have conversations with each other as well. Lastly, if you'd like to know what are the recent product updates and request features on the product, then I recommend you check out updates.clientjoy.io. You'll be able to see all the updates that we are making on the product. You'll be able to find roadmap to figure out what are some of the things that we are going to release very, very soon. And you'll also be able to submit and upvote feature requests that all of our existing users have already created, right? Now, without further ado, let's talk about managing and editing your sales pipeline. Thank you again for joining in today. If you have any questions, just put those questions down in the comments below and I'd be happy to answer those for you. If you have any feature requests, if you have any frustration, issue, if you'd just like to say hi or would like to praise the kind of work that we are doing, all of that can go in the comments below and we'd be happy to answer those for you as well. So when you or your salesperson lands on the leads or sales pipeline within Clientjoy, you'll see a pipeline that's laid out something like this, right? And so this is typically a default sales pipeline that we at Clientjoy have created that applies to most businesses. But it may not apply to you. And you may want to add certain stages, you may want to change the way that stages are appearing, and you may want to customize your sales pipeline. So the best way to start is primarily when you land onto your sales pipeline, you could do two things. The first is if you need the same number of stages, you could just go in this particular stage, just click over here and click on update, and you'll be able to say, okay, I want this stage to be called, qualified, as an example. And since they are qualified, I want them to be, let's say, purple in color, right? And I say okay, and I hit save, and so it'll update right over here, right? So it'll update as qualified stage on your sales pipeline, and you can just start moving leads from one stage to another, and so on and so forth. However, what you may also want to do is you may want to add new stages. So let's say your pipeline is not does not consist of 6 stages. You may want to have 8 or 9 or 10, 15, whatever the case may be. You could just go over here on extreme right and click on add new stage, and then just say, let's say they are currently uh, cold leads. So let's say these are folks that you had a couple of conversations with, but then for some or the other reason they just turned out to be cold, and so you want to look at them periodically, probably every 3 months. You want to drop them an email, and so you want them to be a little dirty yellow in color, right? And so I'll just say okay, and I'll hit save. And so it'll create a stage that's called cold leads. Now I don't want cold leads to be there on extreme right. I want that to be just between negotiation and closed one, and so I can just drag and drop that between both of them. And so let's say Louis Squire is over here. Ketan should also go over here, and so it's as simple as just dragging and dropping leads, or sorry, dragging and dropping leads, or dragging and dropping the entire stage amongst each other, right? So I could just play around a little bit with it, and that's it. It's as simple as primarily just looking at your sales pipeline, figuring out what are the different milestones that your leads go through while they are in the process of being of consuming or purchasing your products and services, and then just dragging and dropping or editing the names of the stages, and so on and so forth. Another thing that you could also do is, let's say probably 3 months later you figure out that that a particular stage doesn't make sense, right? So let's say qualified stage doesn't make sense, but then it has 15 leads or 20 leads or probably 50 leads. What do you do about that? So if I want to delete the stage qualified and move all of them to contacted, I just click over here and I'll hit delete. Right now, when I hit delete, it'll ask me to transfer all of these leads to a new stage. And so let's say the new stage is contacted, and I'll delete it. And so now qualified will go away, and then all of those lead will move under contacted. This may sound confusing, because I already have a stage called qualified also created. So there were 2 stages that were named qualified. So what I do is I'll delete this one as well, and I'll move again all of those to contacted, right? And I'll just hit delete. So now these 2 also will move to contacted, right? And so probably like 3 months later, 5 months later, if you figure out that this sales pipeline doesn't make sense, I want to create a new version of the sales pipeline that aligns with the current flow that you may have at that point of time, you can make those changes at that time as well. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Just looking through your sales pipeline, you'll also know how much money or how much value of those leads are there at each and every stage of your sales pipeline as well. Now let's talk about custom fields, right? So let's talk about when you're creating a lead or importing a lead. Let's say you're creating a lead. Let me just click on new lead. These are the default fields that Clientjoy offers, and then you can add some more deal info. You can add billing details, and you can have some basic updates for all of your deals that leads that you're creating. However, these may not be enough, right? So there could be cases where you want to capture additional information about your lead. So let's say you want to capture what is going to be the lead time. So let's say if they say yes, then how long before the project starts? Or you may want to capture what's the size of the company, or you want to capture what are the services that they are looking to procure from you. And so if you want to capture all of those things as well, then we have custom fields, right? So you could go over here in custom fields, and as you can see, I already have these 3 custom fields that I've already created. So I can enter date of birth, which is going to be a date type of a custom field. I can enter size of a company, which is going to be a number type of a custom field, and it says $million. And so if I enter 5, what that would mean is the size of this company is about $5 million in annual turnover. I could also say, what are the services that they are looking for? So I'd say, okay, they're looking for, let's say, long form blog post, and they're also looking for on-page SEO audit. So these are the 2 services that they are looking for. What I want to do, however, and I want to show how you can also create a custom field. So I'll just click on add custom field. It's going to be part of leads module. Again, you can create custom fields for all of these modules as well. But for now, we'll just look at leads, and we'll cover other custom fields in later videos. let's say the name that I want to give it is going to be, let's say, type of lead, right? And this type of lead is, let's say I deal with like three different types of leads, and I want them now. When I'm talking to a lead, they cannot be multi-select, right? So there you could have services that are multi-select. So a lead could be interested in procuring multiple services from you, but that lead will only be of one type, right? And so instead of selecting multi-select, I'll just hit select. So I'll say select, and then these are the options. So let's say the options could be that they are high net worth individuals, or they could be, let's say, venture capitalists, or they could be, let's say, investment bankers, whatever the case may be, right? And then I could say, whether I want to make it mandatory or not. If it is mandatory, then every time the lead is created, this data will have to be fed into the system, and I'll share with you why that's important as well in the next aspect that we are talking about in terms of setting up your leads view and also search, sort, and filter. But for now, we'll just not keep it mandatory, right? And I'll hit save. And so once I hit save, this custom field has been created right over here. I'll select it to be venture capitalists, right? And so let's say the date of birth for this particular lead is, oh, sorry, I was going into the future. So let's say this lead was born in 1994 on 12th of May. And so I can capture dates, I can capture numbers, I can capture types, select, I can capture multi-select, and I can also obviously capture text if I want to add notes and stuff like that. And I hit save. Once I hit save, I also have to put in the mandatory field, which is the name. And so let's say the name is Tony Stark for now, and I'll hit save. Once I hit save, it will create a lead as Tony Stark with all of those details fed in. So that's primarily how you could use custom fields while creating leads. Another important thing to note over here is that custom fields are completely configurable with the lead form that you embedded on your website. It is also configurable while you are doing import into Clientjoy, and it is also configurable when you are running an automation with a third-party service, right? So custom fields are not some things that are absolutely within the purview of Clientjoy. You could use it anywhere. Another interesting thing is that custom fields can also be used as merge tags when you're sending out proposals or invoices or whatever the case may be. So they could appear on your invoices, or they could appear on your proposals if you so configure it to be. We will be doing a separate video on that as well when we talk about proposals and when we talk about invoices. But for now, the important thing for you to realize and understand is that custom fields allow you to capture a wide variety of information that is critical for your business to understand what sort of a lead are you talking to, and it is completely customizable and configurable with import, with external integrations, and you can search, sort, and filter basis those as well, as we will see in a bit as well. Now, what we want to talk about is setting up your leads view, right? So some people like to look at their leads in a pipeline view, and they are very, very comfortable looking at this. However, some other people might want to look at it as a table. And so you could just click over here and turn this Kanban view into a list view, and you'll be able to see this complete list of all of your leads in one single place, right? The other quick thing that might also happen, and why this is important, is because in your use case, let's say, last contact may not be something that's important for you to see. You may be just the only owner, and so you may just be a freelancer, and owner as a field is also not important for you to see. And so what you could do is you could just hit this small little icon over here, and you'll be able to see all the fields that have been created by default within Clientjoy, and you'll be able to see all the fields that have been created via custom field as well. So as you can see, you have date of birth, you have size of company, you have services that they are looking for, and so on and so forth. And so let's say, it's not important for me to know what is the created date, so I'll just remove that. It's not important for me to see last contact date. I don't want to see tags. I want to see type of lead for sure. I want to see the stage, and I want to see deal size for sure. Company name is not important. I don't want to see that. I'm just dealing with an individual, and that's what's most important. So I'll just move that back. I'll put in CP, I'll put in owner. Who's the owner? Oh, no, sorry, I'm just a freelancer. So owner is also not important for me. However, the services that they're looking for is important. And so I'll move that to top of the table. Email again is important, and I want that to be the second lead, right? And so now what this does, it cleans up the view of the leads that I have, and it completely is configurable and customizable according to what I want for the leads that I am currently talking with, right? And so that's how you can completely customize the view that you have of the leads that you have in Clientjoy. The next thing that we want to talk about is the ability for you to search, sort, and filter leads within Clientjoy, right? And so the way that it works is fairly simple. It's like any search, sort, or filter. Just click over here, and then you have all the filters that you have over here. Again, as I shared before, custom fields also are completely configurable with all the things that happen within Clientjoy and outside Clientjoy. And so let's say if I want to apply a filter for, let's say, services required, I'd say, okay, services required, which is a custom field, by the way. So I just select services required, and I'd say I want to see long form blog post, social media posts, and on page SEO audit, right? Now when I select all these three, it will show me only the leads that have any of these three requirements, right? And so that's primarily how you could filter your leads as well. And so filter basically works exactly the way that you think it should work, right? So let's say you want to figure out how many leads do you have. So let's say if you want to figure out how many leads do you have who were last contacted probably 1 month ago, right? And so those are some of the cold leads. And so I'll say, okay, I'll hit filter, and I'll see last contact, and I'll say the last contact was starting date of let's say 1st of January, right? And end date was, as I want that to be a month ago, I'll just pick up, let's say 7th of April as an example, and I'll apply that. And so I now know that these six leads have not been contacted since last 30 days. So there has been no conversation with them, or they have not even clicked any proposal, they've not even seen any invoice, they've not even received any email from us, or they've not booked any meeting link with us since the last 30 days. And so what I want to do is I want to move all of these to cold leads as well. And so I just hit and select all of them, and I'll do a change status and move all of them to cold leads, right? And so now I know that I want to enroll them into a warm-up sequence. I want to start sending them emails, and I want to change all of their stages and so on and so forth. So you can think of all of these different use cases, right? You could say, how many companies have more than $2 million in their annual turnover, and are looking for long form blog posts, right? Or you could say how many companies were created 6 months ago. So how many leads were created 6 months ago, but then have not moved to closed one stage, right? And so you could just play around with all of these scenarios, and you'll be able to figure out what leads are in which stages and how they work. And this is primarily where the power of having something that is as simple and blissful as Clientjoy sort of comes into play, which is, these are some of the operations that you could just, it's very, very difficult to run on an Excel sheet. And so what I could also do next is I could just go in and I could just head over to emails, and I could just drop in a quick hi, and I could just say, hey Yash, it's been a long time since we last spoke. What's been happening? Why aren't you engaging with us? Have your requirements changed? Here's a quick meeting link. Let's get on a call again, right? And so primarily the filter aspect of Clientjoy basically allows you to start engaging with leads who may have turned cold for a while, and these are all the opportunities that may have been dropped. The next thing that we want to talk about is importing leads in Clientjoy, right? And so this is This is super important where you want to know if you've been, let's say you've been to an event where you came across where let's say 50 people came in and gave you their visiting cards, or you partnered up with some organization and did an online webinar where let's say 200 people registered, and there's a data sharing agreement between the both of you, and you want to import all of those leads in Clientjoy, right? So importing leads in Clientjoy is fairly quick and easy. Just click on import, and we have already created a download sample CSV file over here, and so just download the sample CSV file, and whatever data that you have gotten in whatever format that you have gotten, just bring it into this sample CSV file and upload that. That's the easiest and quickest way to move away from all of these information. This is the holy grail. Just copy paste all of that data in the CSV file and then hit upload. For now, I'll just hit upload and I'll just show you the journey of how that works. I'm going to downloads. I'll see that I have this report which has like 6 or 7 leads. I'll open it and I'll hit continue. Now, once I hit continue, it will ask me to map the file headers with the Clientjoy fields. And so I'll say, okay, this has got to go in first name, this has got to go in last name, this has got to go in email, this has got to go in phone. I want to import company. I don't want to import title. I don't want to import, I want to import the stage. And I don't want to import source. Deal size is also important. I don't want to import conversion probability and so on and so forth. I could import every detail that I want. I do want to import notes. Yeah. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And so these are all the things that I want to import. Oh, I want to also import the website, right? And then I hit continue. So now I mapped all of those fields. It'll just ask me quick questions around rejecting duplicate records, which I obviously want to do. And I just mark Chris as the owner of these leads, which is myself, and I'll continue, right? And so my import has started. This should not take a lot of time. Oh, import's also completed. And so I can click on this, and it'll take me to all the leads that I just imported. And so we'll just wait a second for it to load all of those leads. Yeah, here are the leads that were imported, right? So starting from Mendel going up to Tyler Durden, all of these leads were just imported in different stages with different deal sizes, with all of these email addresses and so on and so forth. So that's how easy and quick it is to import leads into Clientjoy. You could run an import exercise probably every week if you do a lot of lead generation with external partners. However, if you're doing lead generation with let's say by running Facebook ads or Google ads or anything like that, or if you have a form that you'd like to integrate, we'll be doing a separate video on that in terms of how Clientjoy integrates with external tools and how you could set up all of those workflows within Clientjoy as well. So wait for it. If you like us to do that sooner, just hit +1 in the comment and the poll that we've created in the community, and we'll make sure that we do that as quickly as possible as well. But that's pretty much it here, and that's how Clientjoy's sales pipeline works. It's fairly simple, quick and easy. You can edit your sales pipeline, create your stages, move around your stages, move around all of your leads. You can create custom fields so that you always have the requisite data, and there are different types of custom fields that you could create. You can search, sort, and filter all through your database, and then probably warm up some of the leads that may have gotten cold. And you can also import leads, and you can create view of your sales pipeline as well, so that it's completely customizable. It's simple, quick, and easy to use. I hope this live session has been helpful for you. Again, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below, and we'd be happy to answer those. If you'd like to join our beta program, please head over to clientjoy.io/partner/beta program. If you'd like to join the community, go to facebook.com/group/clientjoy, and you'll be able to find about 1200 odd agencies and freelancers over there in the community, where you can ask questions, answer questions, and just share memes, share your frustrations, and also help motivate other folks as well. It's a safe space for you to join. Thank you for joining in today. I hope this has been helpful. Until next time.